What's up, my dudes? Call of Duty 2018 Aztec Warfare, dude. Oh my god. This video right here is a bit of a meme to all of those people that tried to say, oh man, Call of Duty 2017, it could be the Revolutionary War, it could be the Civil War. Like, what the fuck? That is not what Call of Duty has ever been. I don't know why people think that just because Battlefield went back to World War I, then we can all of a sudden think of going back to Civil War and all that stuff. Like, what? That is so weird to me how people thought of that. I think it's just funny more than anything, and it's kind of like goes along with what Call of Duty has been doing. You see, they've been going so far futuristic that they got into all these aliens and spaceships and planets and stuff like that. So what the hell, we might as well go to Aztec warfare and then medieval warfare and then back to caveman warfare. Call of Duty 2025 Caveman Warfare 3. Oh shit, dude. See what I'm saying? It gets so ridiculous whenever you start talking like that about Call of Duty. Call of Duty started in the World War II era. So even like from the World War II era to the modern day era was a very big leap. And I think it's still okay because it's still like realistic in that sense. But like once they went from, see, they went from Modern Warfare 1, okay, then it went to Modern Warfare 2, which was still in the realm of realistic, and then they went to Modern Warfare 3, which was just Modern Warfare 2, and then they went to like Black Ops 1, which I think was still okay because even though it had like futuristic ideas and stuff in there, it was still based like in the Vietnam era, so the revolutionary stuff, Black Ops stuff that they were talking about didn't get too far futuristic. But where it all started was in Black Ops 2. That's where, and I know a lot of people enjoy Black Ops 2, and I thought the gameplay was pretty fun on it, but that's where this futuristic shit started. That's where it started coming from, if you're wondering. That's not where it really like bloomed and flourished, but that's where it started. The Black Ops 2 is where it started getting into this like futuristic tech and stuff that is just like we have just imagined and we have prototypes of and we haven't really used yet. You know, they started doing all that, and then the floodgates just opened and it went to advanced warfare with the boosting and lasers. And then it went past that to the Black Ops 3, which was just continuing the Black Ops thing, which I think Black Ops 3 was way too futuristic for a Call of Duty. I think Black Ops 2 was like right on that borderline, and then Black Ops 3 was too far, you know? And then once they got to Infinite Warfare, that was just like another planet of next level, not even Call of Duty whatsoever. But I think the problem is the fact that it takes them 3 years to rectify their mistake because they have a 3-year cycle. So, for instance, like whenever Advanced Warfare came out and everybody started to hate on it after like a year, well, they couldn't really rectify the mistake because Black Ops 3 was already so far in development. And then Infinite Warfare, I don't know what the fuck happened with that game, but you get what I'm saying? Like the way they do their every year thing, they can't like fix their mistake until basically after 3 years. So, for instance, if they only released a Call of Duty once every 3 years, then it wouldn't look so bad. I mean, just picture that. Like, Advanced Warfare came out, it was like, okay, so something crazy, different, whatever, but then World War II Call of Duty comes out. You see how it wouldn't seem as bad as, like, going from modern shooter to Advanced Warfare, then Black Ops 3, which was way advanced, and then Infinite Warfare, which is way advanced. They've had 3 Call of Duties now that were way too far advanced, and it's not even Call of Duty anymore, in my opinion. I mean, it's basically Halo at this point. It really is. But it's not just that. Whenever I talk about futuristic, like Infinite Warfare, even if you stripped away all of the futuristic stuff with it. I think the gameplay and the graphical look of everything has really gone to shit with these recent Call of Duties. I mean, I would say World at War was better graphically and gameplay-wise than Infinite Warfare, which it came out like 10 years ago, dude. It's crazy. But it's true to me. Like, it just seemed like those older Call of Duties had so much more of a realism to them, like a gritty feeling, shoot off arms, blow off heads. It was just so much more get you into the action in that sense. But now it really does feel like you're playing Halo. Like, you shoot somebody and there's no blood. It's just like oh, their shield's down or some bullshit like that. You know, it doesn't even feel like Call of Duty anymore. And but it's not just the futuristic stuff. For instance, if they would have made a futuristic Call of Duty that had a super hyper realistic style to it, where it was like gritty, you know, you could blow everybody's arms off, and they really made it basically like a World War Call of Duty, but just with a futuristic skin on it. If they did that, it wouldn't have been nowhere near as bad. But what they did was they basically turned it from like gritty to Play-Doh when you really compare the two, when they went futuristic with it. So, for instance, if they would have had an alien mode in Infinite Warfare and made it to where the aliens were super realistic looking and they were gritty and you could blow their heads off and blow their arms off, and it was more like a, you know, like the Alien movie franchise, if it was something super realistic like that, it would have been cool instead of this whole like cartoony look to everything. That does not go good with Call of Duty. I mean, some games you can kind of get away with that cartoony look, but not Call of Duty, dude. Call of Duty has always been known as being like some hyper immersive gameplay. Even though it's not on Battlefield's level, it's still an immersive gameplay style game. And it's comical whenever you compare like the original zombies of World at War to the alien mode in Infinite Warfare. It's like, what? It's almost like you're playing an older game. Like you took a time machine back to an older game, even though it's actually a newer game. What the fuck? That's kind of what it feels like. But I also think another thing that has really hurt Call of Duty is not just this futuristic stuff, but the fact that Call of Duty shooters in general have kind of lost their touch a little bit. Like, for instance, when World at War came out in the original Modern Warfare, that was when most people first got into console multiplayer-based shooters. I mean, for me, that's when I really got into that kind of stuff. So it was like there was more of a magic to it back then because we were all first experiencing that kind of gameplay and stuff. And with World at War, I mean, it had the zombies mode, which was just amazing because that was the first sort of wave type game I'd ever played before. And I think for a lot of other people, it sort of filled this new void of gameplay that they've never really experienced before. And same way, you had the multiplayer side of it, and it just seemed like with like World at War, you could have played that game for 3 years. I can still go back and play World at War and have a hell of a time with it. If you took all the different hackers and stuff like that out of it, I would still be playing that game almost every day because it's that fun. And with these newer Call of Duties, I play them for about 2 months and then I'm done. With Infinite Warfare, I don't even think I played it a week, but I'm talking like Advanced Warfare, I probably played it like a month or something, but they've lost their, not only their touch gameplay wise, but also it's kind of like the newness of that super reactive Call of Duty console shooter has started to fade a little bit. I feel like more people are into the hyper-realistic Battlefield, or they're into more like an H1Z1 or a Battlegrounds. You know, games like that, I feel like that's where the most of the gamer population has sort of shifted to. And as far as the people that weren't really hardcore gamers that were playing those old school Call of Duties, they've just quit playing Call of Duty. Like, they don't play it anymore. I know a ton of my buddies that weren't even really gamers, but they played Call of Duty, and that's why it was on such a mega level. But once it started getting past like Modern Warfare 3 and they started doing all this bullshit with it, that's when everybody quit playing. They just quit playing it. because it doesn't feel the same. But at this point, like I'm saying, it's going to be hard to ever bring it back around because people have already lost their interest in touch with that Call of Duty a little bit. Like, for instance, if you come out with the best Call of Duty ever in 2017, it's not going to have the same impact as like a World at War had because of the time frame of like everybody's interest and multiplayer and gaming and just how popular that is in general, if you can understand that. So I think that in its own right has killed Call of Duty quite a bit there, but because you're always like getting these new trends in gaming and stuff, but that was a mega storm. Like people that didn't even play video games played Call of Duty, you know, that's how mega it was. And that's insane when it ever gets to that point.